Tish, thank you for joining us again for the Interviewer Insights of Career Companion.
You're welcome.
Now, we've gone through your epic career in the career journeys section, and I hope everyone really tunes into that because it's phenomenal. We've got a few questions here that we're asking all hiring managers from different walks of life, different industries, because we want to get a better understanding of what people look for now in the interview process. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You can just answer them as honestly as possible and go from there.
Okay, great.
So the first one is, are your interviews more casual or formal?
I would say more casual. I feel like I want them to be comfortable. I don't want it to be, okay, these are my questions we need to get through. I want to see what kind of person they are going to be. Not that I want to be friends with them straight away, but I just want to make sure that they are going to fit within the current team that we have in the office, make sure they fit within our culture, and kind of see how they go just with the flow of a conversation. I know back in the day when I used to get interviewed, I would prep myself for the questions and I just sounded like a robot. I want it to flow. I want it to be casual. I don't want them to be nervous, and I want to be able to see a little bit of the true self.
All right, brilliant. And what are some red flags you look for in the interview process?
Red flags for me are definitely if you're not on time. I would like you to be at least 5 minutes earlier. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're serious about this. I don't want you just flying in off your cuff. Like, I want to make sure that you are to some level prepared. You look the part. You ask questions as well. But yeah, definitely some red flags. Make sure you look the part, you're not late, and you listen to the questions, and it's not just all about you. You're also asking me some questions as well.
Brilliant. And have you ever hired anyone from a different industry? And I guess, what did they do to impress you in the interview process?
I actually don't mind hiring people that don't have a lot of real estate experience, because you get to mold them into how you want to do that particular role. And I guess that's the control freak coming back into me as well. But yeah, definitely. I think every different industry, they've got their own aspects that they can bring to the table, their own, improvements, I guess, of, you're doing it this way, but how about why don't we do it this way? So they've got their own background history and what they've learned from their role. So I think we can learn a lot from that from other different industries as well. So it's definitely not something that I shy away from. I actually welcome it, to be honest.
And what obstacles have you found they've faced once starting the role, if they have come from different backgrounds?
Look, it is a little bit harder, especially those who are just coming into the industry, like say they're fresh out of school and fresh out of uni and everything like that. I think sometimes the expectations of I want to be up here without doing all of these bits is something that I personally struggle with. And it's hard to educate them as well, to say, well, hang on a minute, well, you will eventually get there, but to get there, these are the steps that you need to go through, and these are the steps that I had to go through and everyone else here in the office. And I also want to elaborate that is the learning experience as well, to be good when you get to that level, because I don't want to just put you at that level and go sink or swim, because you will definitely sink. And I don't want to say that in a bad way, but the reason why we need you to take the steps is because every step is important and every step has a learning part to it. So that is definitely some struggles that I have had with staff members that I have obviously welcomed into our office. Some have made it, some have not, unfortunately, but it's also, that's the time when those people also work out whether or not, is this what I want to do? And if it's not, then okay, it's still early on in the piece, no hard feelings, but let's move you on. And hopefully they've, learned some skills from our industry that they can then take on to their next path as well. So definitely have had, pros and cons of that.
And that's very interesting that you've said that, actually, that it's a learning experience, all of the pros and cons at the end of the day. Everything's a learning experience.
It is, yeah.
What questions would you like the candidate to ask in the interview?
I always have asked when I've been in an interview, and I very much like it when people ask me this, is, so for example, you're going for a property manager's role. You say to them, well, what are you looking for in a property manager, and what are you looking for from me in that role? Because sometimes we know what we want, but then when they're asking, it's like, oh, okay, they're actually asking us the question of what it is that we want from them. And then it's up to them to work out, okay, hang on a minute, I can deliver that deliver that for them, or I can't. And I guess it will come in terms of their maturity, whether or not they turn around and say, yes, this is absolutely going to be the role for me, or I don't know whether or not I can, live up to what your expectations are. But I actually really do like that question. I like that they ask us about what our business does, what our core beliefs and goals are, where we see our business and where we see that what that path looks like. Because it generally, to me, means that they're interested in where we want to go as a business moving forward. And even if they come to us and actually start telling us a little bit about our business, they've researched us. So to me, they're qualified. They're already pre-qualified. They generally want to work with us. And if I can make that interview process work, obviously get a good vibe, make sure they're going to fit with the team, and obviously whether or not their skills or expertise will fit with us, it's always a green light for me.
Brilliant. And how can you tell if someone is a good culture fit for your team?
So obviously you need to know what your culture is like in the office, and know all the different personalities, what will work and what work within your team before you're even interviewing. And I'm a people person. I've always known that from the beginning, and I always go with my gut feeling. And within the first few minutes of me meeting someone, I will know whether or not they are going to be the right fit. And as I said in the interview before, I think if they do have the right attitude, skills can be taught. So I'm okay if they're not skilled in that particular role, but if they've got a go-to attitude, they're keen, they're eager, they're passionate, I can work with that. And I know that they will work within our team as well.
Fabulous. And do you need to have a degree in order to be successful in the career or to be considered for the role?
You don't need to have a career, but there are base level entries that you need to complete to be able to do tasks within the real estate industry. So the first one is your certificate of registration. Now, legislation has changed. You can only be on that for 2 years. And you can do that through, there's a lot of courses out there that you can do. You can do it at TAFE, you can do it online, you can go to a classroom and do that as well. And then the next step from that is your licensee, not your licensee, sorry, your license, your real estate license. And then the top tier of that is obviously, so there's a class 1 and class 2 agent at the moment. So a class 1, essentially you can be a licensee in charge, but all of that, again, you can do via correspondence, online, in class, in TAFE. You do not need a degree.
And last one, references. What do you think of references?
I'm hit and miss with references, because obviously I deal with this on a day-to-day, like with tenants, when I'm doing research. Yeah. I do like them, but I also want to do my own research. So I will research what your social presence looks like. So I don't know if you've ever Googled yourself, but if you Google yourself, you will be surprised at how many things will come up. Obviously for myself, there's lots of different platforms I come on, but I would generally Google you. I will look you up on your LinkedIn, your social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, just to get a bit of an idea of whether or not who I'm sitting in front of is actually who you perceive to be online as well. So while yes, I will check up on references, it won't be what I will solely rely on if obviously when I'm interviewing you and approving you for a role. So it is obviously a factor, but not something that I will make that decision on based 100%.
Would you say to people, clean up your social media before you're going for a role?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with the youngins,
definitely.
I can't believe it. Like some of these platforms that young kids signed up to when they were 12 and 13-year-olds, having no idea what they were doing. And I remember looking someone up and I was like, I was mortified. I was like, I wonder if she knows that's like on the 6th hit button down was all this stuff that shouldn't have been there.
And it scares me, because you and I didn't have that when we were going out at a young age. So I would be mortified myself now if I was sitting in front of a corporate position or any role that you're going to go for, and that person in front of you has looked at your social media, whether you're private or not. Because at the end of the day, you are essentially about to go into a workforce doing a professional role. You are going to be, for real estate in particular, you're going to be meeting landlords, tenants, different age groups, young, middle-aged, older, different career paths. I was speaking to a corporate lawyer the other day. So definitely you need to make sure that your online social presence is clean, because when you do work in this role, landlords are going to look you up as well. And if a landlord sees an unfavorable photo, they're going to go, oh, okay, yes, she's human, but I'm also having this person represent me and my property and my asset. So yes, 100% Google yourself and make sure that your online presence is professional.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you once again for joining us on this segment, and it's been great chatting to you tonight.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Thank you.
All right. Bye.